All right, y'all, without further ado, here's your Safe Sanctuaries training video. We're going to talk about a little bit more than that, but I want to start off with Safe Sanctuaries. You'll each have a copy of that booklet in your small group rooms this week. If you're not going to be in your small group room, just come find me. I'll have kind of a checklist to make sure that everybody gets one. Safe Sanctuaries is a really important thing, and we take it very seriously here at the church. And sometimes people can think of it as a burden. It can be a hindrance. We understand that. But we're very comfortable with doing ministry within the boundaries of our Safe Sanctuaries policy. And we believe that that policy is designed to protect you and the kids. You don't want to put yourself in a situation to where it could do more harm to your students that you're working with than good. And that happens a lot, more often than you would think and much more often than I'm comfortable with. So I want to highlight two things within that. The first thing is going to be the 2-adult rule. Y'all all kind of already know about the 2-adult rule, but that just means at all times when you're with a student, there must be 2 adults, 2 Safe Sanctuary trained adults. That doesn't mean that you can have your 18-year-old son in there. If you have any questions on what an adult means, let me know. But that's why we have 2 adults with every pack. How that's applicable with your roles with the students. If your pack leader, the other adult pack leader is going to be out for a Wednesday, make sure y'all communicate. Let me know if you can't find another adult to sit in with you, or we can find another option like we've done already. We can go, if the girls were in the separate rooms and we left the door open and we have a floater. That's kind of the exception to it, is that if there's a floater that floats around in the space that you're meeting, that counts and covers the 2-adult rule. Also with that is the open door or window policy. So if there's 2 adults, regardless, the door needs to have a window on it, or the door needs to be cracked or open to where someone walking by could kind of check on the room and make sure everything's okay. Again, this isn't to say that any of y'all are perpetrators, all right? I wouldn't have asked you to be small group leaders if I didn't trust you with the kids. But this is really to protect you. We do work with some kids that have, well, we call it mess here. And that mess kind of translates in different ways. And so we want to be able to make sure that you're protected in doing that. Look through the manual as well. If you have any questions or anything that's in there that you don't understand or you need me to further explain, or you need our Safe Sanctuaries team to help you understand, please do that as well. The last thing that I want to say on Safe Sanctuaries is talking about healthy boundaries and appropriate boundaries. One example of this is that I want to highly encourage you all to do. It's impossible to not communicate over social media, but this is kind of a new thing, and we don't really have a clearly defined social media policy on this one because it's impossible to keep up with. But one of the biggest ones for me is Snapchat. I would prefer you not be using Snapchat with the students. The reason for this is that your message disappears after 5 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever is on there. I communicate with the kids over my phone all the time through all different media outlets. But at any given time, I could take my phone, anyone could log into it, and they could see every archived communication that I've had with the student. That needs to happen. If you're communicating with your students in a way where you can't do that, you need to cease that type of communication immediately. Again, if you want me to explain that or you have reasons behind that, let me know. I don't believe that this is a hindrance to ministry. I'm going to restate that. I believe that this is here to protect us and to help us. Along with that, you need to set healthy boundaries of when you communicate with your kids. A lot of our kids stay up late at night. You need to have a time where if there's something that they need to talk about and it's past this certain hour, that constitutes an emergency. So an emergency means that they call 911 or they reach out to their parents. Understand what your role is in their life. Understand what you're comfortable with, and understand that you need to have firm boundaries with how you interact with them. Okay, so this is where we kind of get to the training point for this month's video. I was going to do them weekly, but whatever. So this month's video is establishing connections with your students. This is one of the most important things, and one of the most important things for why you're called to the table, and why that you've already kind of realized that there's a value in this program for you, almost much more than the students themselves, of how you're able to connect with them. So I want us to start focusing on that as a leadership team and as leaders, as you students as well. Begin to connect with your adult leaders. We spend a lot of time placing you together, whether it's the adults that are together or whether it's the specific students with those adults. That's because we know you really well, and we know the benefit that that can have. We know the benefit that you as adults can gain from the students that are on your leadership team, and students the benefit that you can have from the adults that are on your leadership team. So a simple thing for that. Y'all should at least have one conversation before you come into your small group meeting with everybody that's going to be there. Whether it's a text that says who's going to be doing what, who's going to open the conversation, who's going to be doing the game, hey, who's going to bring the note cards, or y'all text me. But y'all need to communicate before your meeting so that you come in with a plan. That's our rule number 2. All right, always have a plan. You've got it on the app, but I want y'all to have an individualized plan for your group as well. But connect with each other. And the connections that you have as a leadership team is going to filter down into your kids. They're going to see the way that you interact with each other. They're going to see the comfort level that you have with each other. And that's going to allow them and empower them to be more comfortable in the group itself. On that note, connecting with our kids. So connecting with each other is really important, okay? Again, trust the model and trust that we know the hearts of each one of you as a leader and that you've been placed together for a purpose. So have coffee with each other. Have a dinner that y'all go out to dinner once a month, whatever that may be. Because that filters down to this second point, which is connecting with your students. That we really need to really start accentuating that, because we're getting to the point of here in December and really big in January is it's our time of growth. This first semester was to kind of iron out the kinks, figure out how it works, where you're going to be, and the system, once it's in place, we have yet to have any kind of a recruitment thing to invite people into our youth group. All we do is word of mouth. We don't have flyers up, and we're never going to do that stuff. Our social media is even just funny. So that's going to be the continued theme and the continued practice of us as a youth group. But we're going to begin inviting people. We're going to be asking the kids to invite their friends, and not just as a side thought, but as a forethought, as a thing that's in the front of their minds as they're coming to youth, specifically on Wednesdays. Because the small groups and the packs are going to be our place of growth. It's not going to be on Sunday nights. It's difficult to connect with new kids on a Sunday night because of how big it is, how many people are there. But it's really easy to connect and establish a relationship in the pack environment, which you've already found, okay? So on that, there's 2 things. You've got the kids that are actively coming. They're on your roster. If a kid's on your roster and they don't show up on a Wednesday, they should be getting a text from y'all. Preferably that night, not saying, hey, where were you? You need to be at church. Please, God, don't do that. All right, that's not what we do. The thing is you say, hey, we missed you tonight. Hate you couldn't make it. Let them know that they were missed. Let them know that when the group meets and they're not in the group is less than it was when they were there. That their presence is valued, that they have a worth to bring to the table, that we enjoy them when they're there. That's it. Y'all can talk about that as a group. A lot of you, I'll tell you that now. But y'all figure it out as adults and as student leaders. And students, this is really a role for you. Because if I text somebody, it means a lot less than if you say as their peer that you wanted them there. So y'all kind of get together and figure that out. I'm not asking you to get deep into the family issues or any of the big problems that are behind them not showing up. Just say, hey, we missed you tonight. Hope you can make it next week. Thinking about you. All right, things like that. So when you do that, they're invested. When you invest in them, they're going to invest in the group. And it's got to be a dual relationship. We don't ever want to be a group or a church or a student worship ministry that expects kids to show up just because they should go to church. We got to get out of that mindset that says we should prioritize church over other things. That's not an obligation, all right? We don't want to make church an obligation. We want to make church something that enriches their lives. So if they're not coming on a Wednesday night, we need to step up our game and prove that what we do on Wednesday night is valuable to them in their lives, which we already know it is, but we just need to continue to reiterate that to them. But we don't put pressure on it. We don't say you got to come every Wednesday. When kids don't show up, that's fine. We understand that. But we want to make sure that they know that they're valued. So that's where we're moving forward. Safe Sanctuaries is a big thing, but also with that is aligning with healthy boundaries, but also even healthier connections with our students. If you got any questions, you got any feedback, please let me know. I wish I could be in every small group. I wish I could sit there and talk with y'all and work with you. You're doing amazing things. And so just make sure you're reaching out to me and giving me what you think we can improve, because we're going to continue to improve when we get into this kind of recruitment or ramping up campaign of growth, and it's already happening. I love y'all. I'm proud of you. I couldn't imagine a cooler group of people and a more capable group of people to lead these students into an authentic experience of their belief. Thanks.